Hey team, this is Nathan from RunDreamAchieve.com. Today's topic, I want to discuss how to get to a point where you can get sub 5-minute mile pace to feel easier. If you're trying to break a 5-minute mile, you'd better have your head on straight. This is a very, very fast time. Athletes around the world would like to run 4:59 or faster for the mile. And I just recently finished the sub 5-minute mile leader course, and I went pretty in depth in this course. Those athletes that are out there that have been dreaming about breaking the 5-minute mile, for them it is like breaking the 4-minute mile for other athletes. And you have to be thinking outside the box. You have to be paying attention to all the details that go into sustaining 74-second quarter pace for those 4 laps on the track. If you can run 74 to 75 for each one of those laps, you have anywhere from a 4:56 to 4:58 mile. But it does take patience. You have to think, you have to be thinking about all the other details of what it takes to be able to minimize the amount of lactic acid buildup while you're running at an all-out effort. And that's not an easy process. You're not going to break a 5-minute mile by just running easy, relaxed miles or kilometers each week. It's not about the volume of mileage you're putting in either. It's about the quality of the workouts you're doing. It's about the recovery between each one of those harder anaerobic workouts. And I definitely go in very in-depth detail through 25 video tutorials, including about a 30-minute overview of the training plan at the conclusion of the course itself. Big mistakes that athletes that are trying to break the 5-minute mile are doing is improper pacing in the first, especially in the first lap of the race. You're not going to win a mile in the first 400 meters. So chill out on the first lap of that race. Yes, you do still want to get out about the first 100 meters. It's a highly anaerobic race. It's over like that, within a few minutes. So you have to be very cognizant, very aware of your surroundings and of your pacing in the early stages of the race. And as I talk about in the course itself, my key tactic to break 5 minutes is the third lap. And you have to make sure that you're training at paces that are at such an extreme so that you can get sub 5-minute mile pace to feel easier. So yes, you do want to spend a few minutes to a few seconds training at closer to around 4:30 mile pace or 4:20 mile pace. You can do that for 100 meter reps, 200 meter reps, 300 meter reps. So on top of that, you also have to focus on the other aspects of training for a sub 5-minute mile that a lot of your competition isn't really looking at. And I definitely go in depth in regards to that as well in the course. Some key tactics and mindset tricks that I used that I was taught as well by some of the world's top distance running coaches, including Dr. Joe Vigil, one of the world's most renowned exercise physiologist, Jack Hazen, who's been at Malone University for about 52 years now, one of the world's top distance running coaches. Just Google Jack Hazen and you'll find a lot more information about Jack. He's a very accomplished coach, knows quite a bit about middle distance to long distance running success, as well as having worked with Lisa Rainsberger, the 1985 Boston Marathon champion. She coached me for 3 years. Learned quite a bit from her as well as some key tactics in terms of nutrition. You have to be paying attention to your nutrition. What you're doing on and off the track after the workout's done is going to also dictate how successful you are at breaking the 5-minute mile. Sub 5-minute mile pace is extremely fast, extremely aggressive running. So you have to train at a specific effort to get that specific pace of breaking 5 minutes to become more efficient at not only racing, but being able to handle very high amounts of lactic acid buildup and to be able to handle that more effectively than your competition. Your competition's always going to wait until the last lap of the mile. They're waiting until the adrenaline is pumping, everybody's screaming, the people in the stands are screaming. You don't want to wait until the last lap. My tactic is to make your attack at 600 meters out from the finish line. If for whatever reason you can't make your move at 600 meters, make it at around 500 meters left to go in the race. Because again, you don't want to wait until everybody else is trying to make their move. You want to make it either 600 meters out or at the very least 500 meters out from the race. And when you make your move, you make your move. You have to. And the proper way to do that and to be able to have the confidence to make a move that far out from the finish line is to train properly. You have to train at, near, or far below sub 5 minute mile pace in training so that you get sub 5 minute mile. You've already practiced it. You've practiced training at closer to 420 to 430 mile pace in training, so that when you get to the race, you have that confidence, you have that motivation that, hey, what's 5 minute mile pace? I know I can do this for 4 laps. I know I can hold 74 to 75 second quarter pace. I have the confidence. I know I can go in because I've tapered down correctly, which we discuss in the sub 5 minute mile leader course as well, the proper way to taper. A lot of athletes get this wrong as well. But because you have that additional confidence that you've trained at much, much faster paces than sub 5 minute mile pace, that's going to help give you that motivation that you're going to need come race day. And it's also about staying as relaxed as you possibly can in the race. Your competition is going to be very tense. It's about and stressed out, at the start of the race as well. It's normal to have some nerves, but if you've trained properly for 16 weeks, 4 months is plenty of time to train properly for an all-out mile attempt. But training, the preparation should be the most difficult, challenging part of breaking a 5 minute mile and getting that sub 5 minute mile pace to feel easier for you. But the day of the race is not the day to be tense and stressed out. And if you look around your competition, either if you're trying to go after a sub 5 minute mile pace effort on the roads or on the track, look around you. Your competition's going to be stressed out. They're going to be all tense. My best racing from the mile all the way up to the marathon distance was when I was most relaxed. I ran 422 for the full mile, 1,609 meters. I ran 425 for 1,600 meters in high school. But as a freshman, I ran 530. I got it down to 425 by my senior year. So it's about consistent effort. If you're not being consistent and persistent for a long enough period of time, if you're kind of just tiptoeing through the tulips thinking that you're going to break a 5 minute mile, you're only working at 50%. You have to be hungry, you have to be disciplined. I already know that you are, otherwise you wouldn't even be watching this video or been this far into the video if you weren't serious, if you weren't seeking excellence, if you weren't one of those types of athletes that will, do whatever it takes in order to get what they want. Mental training is another big part of the puzzle to break 5 minutes and to get sub 5 minute mile pace to feel easier. You can't just do physical training and neglect mental training. You have to see yourself breaking a 5 minute mile well in advance of actually doing it. And this is where most athletes get it wrong. We're so focused on physical training. What type of track workouts do I need to be doing? How many miles or how many kilometers per week should I be running? What about the mental training piece? Why are we not so focused on that? I can tell you from experience and from having worked with Olympians and trained with Olympians, mental training is one of their key secret tactics. They spend time, 10 to 15 minutes each day, visualizing success and visualizing themselves racing and preparing in a successful way, and doing that for a long period of time, over several weeks, several days, several months. They're not just interested in being average. These athletes are at a different level, not only physically, but also mentally as well. So if you start implementing a mental training component to your preparation as well, you're going to get to a point where you can handle 74 to 75 second quarter pace or faster over that 4 lap distance. Again, mental training by itself is not going to guarantee you a sub 5 minute mile. You have to obviously do the physical training as well, but breaking 5 minutes for the mile is also about combining the two, combining the hard anaerobic training well below sub 5 minute mile pace, doing tempo runs at slower than 5 minute mile pace, but still aggressive enough where you're going to build that strength and stamina that you need. And that's training well below 6 minute mile pace and doing it for a longer period of time. My best recommendation, if you want to truly break the 5 minute mile barrier and you want to know exactly what you need to be doing and you want to learn from somebody that's done what you are seeking to do, then definitely check out the sub 5 minute mile leader course. The link below for the course is below this video. Again, it is definitely going to be an in-depth course. It's not just a cookie cutter sub 5 minute mile training plan. This is going to go into in-depth on what you need to be doing in your training, but also covering down on the other fundamentals that go into becoming a successful miler. And anybody that's trying to break 5 minutes for the mile is not the norm. This is if for whatever reason you feel you don't have the talent to break a 5 minute mile, this course will help get you beyond that. Because if you have the work ethic, if you have the drive and motivation to get out the door and put in the work, and you're willing to do it for a long enough period of time, there's no stopping you from breaking the 5 minute mile. It's not going to be easy, there's no question about it. You're not going after an average time, you're going after an excellent time, a superior time, a time that a lot of athletes don't necessarily achieve, not necessarily because they're lacking talent, but they're not training in a specific way for a specific, in a long enough period of time, but in a specific manner in order to break that barrier. Again, it's getting to a point where you become very efficient at handling higher amounts of lactic acid and doing it more effectively than your competition. So if you have any other questions or concerns, leave me a comment below this video or any of my videos. There will be resources below all of my videos, so definitely check those out. If you're ready to get started and you really want to break the 5 minute mile barrier, check out the link below this video and get started with me today. Like I said, I'll be with you in terms of virtually, but that being said, I know you have the willingness to be successful at breaking the 5 minute mile barrier. It's just a matter of working your plan and planning your work and knowing what you need to be doing on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis so that you are setting yourself up for success. You know how to taper down correctly, and you know what are the workouts you need to be doing and what are the paces of those workouts you need to be doing them at. So I look forward to hearing about your sub 5 minute mile race, and I look forward to seeing you inside the course. I'll talk to you in the next video.